आज मेरे पास बिल्डिंगें हैं, प्रॉपर्टी है, बैंक बैलेंस है, बंगला है, गाड़ी है। क्या है तुम्हारे पास?
The iconic dialogue from Diwar wasn't just a movie line. It came to define the common man's greatest aspirations. Owning a home was no longer about security. It became a status symbol and a marker of financial success. Mumbai, a city where land is scarce and aspirations are infinite, the infatuation with home ownership has transformed the housing landscape. As more join the race to acquire a home, what was once a dream has now turned into an obsession, and for many, a trap. Join us as we unpack the realities of Mumbai's housing market and explore the role of rental housing as a potent solution.
Say 1960 and more towards the 80s, the options for investment for those who had money started diversifying very significantly. On the other hand, the rent control made investment in the rental housing stock very unattractive. Early migrants used to describe, आमचं घर कोकणात आहे आणि विराड मुंबईत आहे. So Virat was not supposed to be permanent. Towards the 80s, the migrants had now come to conclusion that they are not going to go back. So they were looking for sort of stronger and permanent foothold in the market. So that was on the demand side. What is quite remarkable in Mumbai is that 50% of Mumbai slums are on public land. The type of examples I gave, which are not catered by government, etc. So, but 50% are on private land also. Like developers in the formal market, there are people who are even in legal terms called slumlords. So they operate like the developers. They get hold of the land. That is why we call them informal market, and it really operates like informal market without rent control. Yeah. And that is why you observe that a lot of rental housing today is in the informal market.
A high property price to income ratio has become the norm in India. Here, this ratio has risen to 7.5 in 2024 from 6.6 in 2020. This means that citizens in India would have to spend over 7 years' worth of their salaries to buy a home of their own. While this number may not sound outrageous, a ratio greater than 5 indicates unaffordability. The scenario is especially dire in Mumbai and other metropolitan cities. It is estimated that over half of the population in the Mumbai metropolitan region cannot afford a home. For instance, the property price to income ratio for Bandra is currently 31, meaning a person would have to save their full salary for a whopping 31 years to be able to own a home of their own. In this economic environment, housing security remains elusive for large sections of the population, and rental housing can play a crucial role in closing the gaps in the housing market. In Mumbai, 39% of the total population live in rented housing. The median income to rent ratio indicates that one pays half of their monthly salary towards rent. This indicates a severe lack of sufficient, affordable, and flexible rental housing solutions, which can cater to varying housing demands and income levels.
While the formal housing market still lags behind, Mumbai slums offer flexible renting solutions in terms of space, duration, and price. A kholi in Ganpat Patil Nagar settlement of Dahisar would cost Rs 10 per square feet, while renting a one-room kitchen would cost over 3 times this amount. The formal market is yet to catch up. And while owners are forced to tie up vast sums of money into monthly EMIs, maintenance, taxes, renters are free to invest in equity markets. The choice to rent gives the youth freedom of job mobility without worrying about a long-term financial commitment.
ये घर नहीं खंडर है, चलो यहाँ से।
बाकी का कहाँ है? इतना ही है। कैमरा में तो इससे बड़ा दिख रहा था।
But also there is, if you have to own a house in Mumbai, then you have to save your 80% to 90% of the salary for 4 to 5 years So to be able to afford this small house in Mumbai, because it is so expensive. So it's better to have like a big and affordable house at a small city than owning this small area with lots of money in Mumbai. So yeah, I would always prefer to rent.
The pressure to buy a home isn't unique to India, and across the world, homeownership was promoted as a path to financial stability. Post World War II, many Western nations rolled out financial incentives like low interest loans, tax breaks on mortgages, and subsidies to boost homeownership. These incentives were meant to provide financial security, allowing people to accumulate wealth through property.
You want to bet against the housing market?
Why? Those bonds only fail if millions of Americans don't pay their mortgages. That's never happened in history.
But there was an unintended consequence. By making homeownership the ultimate goal, these policies distorted housing markets and, in some cases, triggered economic disasters, most notably the 2008 financial crisis.
From a global perspective, India is rapidly urbanizing. Pegged at 30 to 40% urbanization in 2011, it is estimated that more than half of India's population will be urban by 2030. However, compared to other world cities, the rental housing market in India caters to only 13% of its population. Taking a glance at other world cities, Vienna has 76% of its population living in rental housing, which is managed by the city government. Berlin has a whopping 83% of its residents living in rental housing, with many of them paying regulated rents that are half the market rents. In New York City, rent stabilization offers a second-generation rent control mechanism which is instrumental in providing affordable housing, especially in expensive neighborhoods like Manhattan and Brooklyn. In the US, real estate investment trusts or REITs have proven to be an effective finance mechanism for the supply of rental housing. Residential REITs offer as high as 19% returns. Of these, 9 are social REITs that provide affordable rental housing, while 20 are publicly listed REITs. Despite the merits of rental housing, the current rental stock remains woefully inadequate, with the available options being badly managed and of poor quality. As observed in examples from across the globe, renting has the potential to effectively negate the housing crisis, but there are significant gaps that need to be bridged. So, how can the rental market be improved to help meet the demand for affordable housing?
The stigmatization of rental housing and the pressure to own a house needs to stop. The focus must remain on ensuring access to housing for all, but housing security does not need to look the same for everyone. Visit the Renting Realities website for a detailed recommendation study on city, state, and national level. These recommendations are a result of an elaborate stakeholder roundtable where high-level officials and real estate industry professionals deliberated on policy and finance mechanisms to enhance the rental housing market.
Across urban centers, the need of rental housing is only going to go up. The urban centers are the economic engines. More and more economic growth and wealth creation is happening in urban centers than rural centers. So the need of rental housing is only going to go up. I think slowly and steadily the challenges typically rental housing faces are also going to get solved. Currently, it's a highly fragmented market, highly localized market. If more conducive policies are framed up in the future, more organized players can come in. More individuals can be incentivized to buy houses for the purpose of renting them out. There could be some taxation benefits, or there could be some other benefits in terms of property tax savings or stamp duty savings, etc. And also one needs to ensure that people who buy their second and third home are encouraged to rent them out. Otherwise, it's of no use that people have multiple home ownerships and they don't put them out for rent. The house just stays vacant. That will help. That will not help the cause. So I think going forward, I do see that we are moving towards more rental housing market. I do believe that REITs will consider residential housing as one of the asset classes to look into.
Perhaps it is time to rewrite the Mumbai dream and accept the fact that different people need different housing solutions. After all, Mumbai is a diverse and dynamic city, and its housing market needs to evolve to match up to its populace. Cooperatives or condos, skyscrapers or slums, they all have an important role to play in Mumbai's housing story.